Parque Pumalin covers around 300,000 hectares of mostly pristine wilderness in a remote area of Chile stretching from the Andes to the Pacific. This temperate rainforest in northern Patagonia is home to a unique ecosystem comprising thousands of plant species. Fjords cut through the dense vegetation. Pumalin looks and feels like a national park, an official reserve for Chile's flora and fauna, but it isn't. It's owned by a US-based trust established with the money of an American couple who believe in what's called deep ecology, and not everyone's happy about it. Kris Tompkins and husband Douglas, away buying land in Argentina, made millions from their clothing businesses. Now they're heavily involved in foundations and trusts opposing modern industrial society's focus on technology and economic growth. So they're preserving the wilderness by buying it.
Certainly the scale and scope of the project was such that it could create controversy. I think over the long term, our hope has been that if we stick to our guns and we do absolutely what we say we're going to do, that over the long haul, people will come to see that we were honest about our desires and endeavors. And I think that every year as more and more tourists come to Pumalin Park, it's been found that it's true. And I think many people now consider Pumalin to be a national park of Chile.
Douglas Tompkins says inappropriate technology and excessive exploitation of natural resources hinder, not help, problems like poverty. He says we should live with nature, not control it.
In the short term, conservation is not going to show immediate alleviation of poverty. However, in the long term, I believe that's the only way that we'll see human poverty reduced is through a healthy environment. That concept is catching on all around the world. It's certainly from the United Nations to national governments all over the world. The concept of having a rich and diverse nature that sustains human societies is catching on.
Pumalin is a working paradise, not simply a playground for the rich, so the Tompkins promote traditional and sustainable pursuits like beekeeping. The couple empathize with indigenous groups everywhere who historically have lived in harmony with nature, and they believe that's what we should all be striving towards. Only around 2% of Pumalin is used for agriculture. The Tompkins established the area 6 years ago and encouraged limited tourism, but most of the reserve has never been walked on by humans. The Chileans who live and work here lead a near self-sufficient existence. But outsiders know about Pumalin's vast forests, and the reserve attracts timber thieves. It also attracts criticism from Chileans who believe the natural wealth should be exploited. Deep ecologists are true egalitarians, placing humans on a par with plants and animals, not above them, which is an attitude that even some other environmentalists oppose. The private purchase of areas like Pumalin is great for the birds and bees and sea lions, but it raises issues of foreign control that the Chilean government is still considering, not least because Pumalin almost touches the Argentine border, cutting Chile in two. The project has attracted curiosity and suspicion, as well as criticism. The quiet port of Chaiten is the closest town to Pumalin. The 3,000 inhabitants depend on logging and the small tourist industry. Some residents say that they've been displaced and then ignored by the people they sometimes refer to as eco-barons. Life as a woodcutter isn't easy, but Jose Ruiz Soto was born into it. Like his father, he used to work in the forests of what became Parque Pumalin. Now living with his family in Chaiten, Jose resented having to start a new life without any compensation, when foreign investors were apparently offered land cheaply in the hope that they would bring new wealth to the area. Jose has documents which he hopes will make the authorities recognize his traditional, if not legal, right to work the forests inside Pumalin. But years of struggle have proved fruitless. His father died without firmly establishing a legacy for the family.
Mi padre, como le decía anterior, mi padre murió de 84 años y jamás nunca me dijo, mira, esta parte aquí es de fulano. La familia Perez y Goy tampoco, nunca dijeron, oiga amigo, no se ponga a trabajar ahí porque tal persona es el dueño, nunca. Así que así fue.
So that's what happened. It's sad, the deal that I was given. Even today, I'm still waiting for this to be sorted out, now that there is a new person in charge.
Logging elsewhere in Patagonia is big business. But the consequences on the environment are either unforeseen or ignored, so some areas have been devastated. Such damage takes years to set straight. Patagonia's problems have been raised in the center of power, Valparaiso. It's a port, a powerful economic center, and home to Chile's Congress. The wealth that the Tompkins and their trusts possess could prove attractive to any nation seeking foreign investment, except that investment in deep ecology is very different to the type most politicians want. Projects such as Pumalin provide few jobs and little wealth generation, and as a consequence, sparse support for any politician who welcomes them. Chile's Congress is finely divided between left and right. The last election produced a narrow victory for the Social Democratic Party, which leads a coalition government. Senator Antonia Horvath Kiss represents Patagonia and wants to promote economic development in an area whose inhabitants feel they've been ignored for far too long. A few years ago, Chile's economy was acknowledged as one of the best in Latin America by modern industrial and technological standards. But it's suffered along with everybody in a global recession and is keen to attract foreign investment. That would be especially welcome in the remote south, but it seems deep ecology is not the approach favored by the Chilean authorities.
Bueno, las principales objeciones al proyecto Pumalin y esta compra masiva de tierra es de que va comprando sistemáticamente comunas, provincias y porcentajes relevantes de las regiones del país. El segundo punto es de que los terrenos van desde el límite hasta el Océano Pacífico y por lo tanto lo cortan en dos e impiden o dificultan la posibilidad de hacer obras de integración física. Y en la tercera objeción es de que lo hace sin los colonos propiamente tal de la Patagonia y los saca del lugar y los reemplaza por gente nueva con un pensamiento también bastante distinto.
The Tompkins argue that their way of thinking is best, and if we all adopted it, we could adapt to a better way of life. What causes controversy is that their wealth means they can practice what they preach before reaching any local consensus. For the people who have jobs within Pumalin, that's fine. They're earning money whilst helping preserve ancient species, like the alerce trees. Allowing limited and sustainable tourism is intended to raise awareness of deep ecology, as well as funds for Pumalin. Manuel Perez's life has changed for the better since working in Pumalin. His job prospects were once poor.
Como chileno que soy, esto para mí debe ser un gran orgullo, pero ojalá que esto se recorriera en todos los países, fuera igual que todo. ¿Cómo te explico? Es un ejemplo de un norteamericano que haga esto, en vez de hacerlo en un chileno.
This is an example of a North American doing something instead of a Chilean.
¿Qué es lo que hacen los chilenos? ¿O miran en menos? ¿O no?
Be left for Chileans.
Y lo otro que digo,
if only the whole world would look after nature like this.
Tratar de la naturaleza.
Global problems of overpopulation and poverty need all the attention they can get. So what happens at Parque Pumalin could contribute to the debate on sustainable development.